Okay, so most of us can kind of agree that 2020 was pretty bad. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie. Coming from what was 2019, a great year in terms of like my actual life of being a professional photographer, getting that momentum and really achieving new goals and milestones. I came into 2020 with a lot of positivity and optimism. We were all dealt a terrible hand with this whole pandemic. One thing that really I was able to do was get back into like my roots in gaming. And damn, I played a lot of games. A lot a lot of variety. And I also like spent some money and I started live streaming. We started live streaming, and so I thought it would be cool to take a small moment and look back at the games that I played for the most part in 2020. Basically talk about like my experience with them. Some of these games are old, so it's like me revisiting them, and some of these are new games that came out throughout 2020. So there's a lot of variety to work with. I pretty much decided, you know what, let's talk, do something different, something that I've never done on this channel before. So yeah, my name is Alken, and let's begin. Let's talk, let's do this. Resident Evil 2 Remake. So I can't stress how much fun I had with this game. I played the original many years ago as a kid, and back then it was a scary game. But this remake, it scared the shit out of me. Having Mr. X chase you around all over the place with his heavy footsteps, it gave me high levels of anxiety that I've never felt in a game. And I love that. It was a fresh experience, and one that kept me on my toes at all times. In terms of the puzzles, some of them kind of suck because it's just it keeps you there, and if you're not efficient, you'll be there for a while. But other than that, with the puzzles, it's all linear stuff. You go here, go there, insert this, insert that, etc. So it was very straightforward. But I can say that I had no issues at all with the game, and I thoroughly enjoyed the numerous play sessions I had with it. And then when the news dropped about Resident Evil 3 Remake coming soon, hell yes, I was excited. Resident Evil 3 Remake. This game had so much potential, but it was obviously a final cash grab by Capcom to use whatever leftover assets they had from Resident Evil 2 Remake. And what we got was like this half-assed game that cut a lot of corners and gave us essentially a very reduced game compared to the original. While the action segments were cool, the story felt lacking. The fact that you got zero good rewards for actually fighting Nemesis whenever he did show up, it was like a giant middle finger fuck you for trying and wasting time and resources. I will say, however, that the final fight with Nemesis, although just odd in the general way that Jill kills him, it has to be one of my favorite ways to end a final boss fight. Oh, take it, motherfucker! Take it!
Come on! Next time, take the fucking
Take it, bitch! Ah! Headshot guns! You just got out! Other than that, I hate to say that this game is pretty forgettable, and I regret spending $60 on a game which felt like it should have been at maybe 30 or 40, but that's just how I work sometimes with these games. It's a hit and miss. The Last of Us Part 2. Never mind what the reviews and people said about this game. I had an exceptionally good time playing this game. So first things first, I'm a sucker for solid one-player story-driven games, and I was not disappointed in with what The Last of Us 2 did here. The story was great, the combat was intense, and the addition of Abby as a second protagonist expands the story and gives us like an insight of these two characters of Ellie and Abby and their eventual crossing of paths that gives their separate stories of revenge against each other a heavier sense of weight. It's like who do you cheer for, that kind of thing. So like the situations in the game, the situations that the game puts you in, it made for like an excellent experience, regardless of what the reviews say. I love this game, but obviously there are faults here and there. It's not a perfect game by any means. The story is a little wonky in some regard, and it's very linear. Like, what the story is all about. It's about revenge, plain and simple, and you do a lot of things that kind of lead and show you that this is all about revenge, whether it's brutally assassinating people left and right, or just the flashbacks that kind of like paint you a story of like, wow, this is why they're doing this is why they're doing that. It's a very straightforward story, so it doesn't get like a lot of points in that regard, but the way they executed everything to make you feel something, I think it was a much better thing. That I think I got my money's worth, and my time, I feel like my time was properly invested in this playthrough of this game. What can I say? It's not Game of the Year for nothing, but overall, I had a good time. That's what's too. Not bad. Metro 2033 Redux. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I've never played a single Metro game. It was actually suggested to me to play on stream for my Spooktober event by one of my subscribers. I was doing an event on Twitch for the month of October, and so I was going in pretty blind overall. I found it to be a pretty buggy game. It actually crashed on me several times on the Xbox One, and the story for me was all over the place. Half the time I was asking myself, what the hell was going on? Or I would say things like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. What's going on? It was a pretty random game. Now I know there's plenty of others in the series, but I don't think I'll be trying them out anytime soon. This game was pretty okay for the most part. However, constantly suffocating and suffocating from a lack of oxygen tanks, and having these ape-like monsters beat my ass half the time. Not fun, but I didn't know what to expect, honestly. So it gets a pass, but just this once. Maybe down the line we'll try some of the other ones. Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot games. In fact, Crash Bandicoot 2 was the first game I ever 100%ed on the OG PlayStation. So I was going into this game with my nostalgia glasses onto the max, but I quickly found out that as beautiful and great this game is, I believe it was constructed in the deepest parts of hell, because the game does not bullshit around and it's hard. It made me rage like live when I was streaming it, which brought joy to my viewers, but I felt my soul getting crushed with how often I was dying. The game is great visually, but I want to meet the sick fuck that decided to make some of these levels nearly impossible. These levels, just have a nice chat with them, But on a serious note, I did enjoy my time with this game. I will probably never 100% this game. I just don't have it in me, and in that regard, it's why it's on my Twitch list of games that have defeated me. Crash Bandicoot 4. It's a great game, but god damn, it's hard. DJ Max Respect. So, a series that I followed ever since I was a teenager back in the PSP days of gaming was DJ Max. It has been my favorite series when it comes to the music rhythm games genre. And while everyone was playing Rock Band, Guitar Hero, DJ Hero, all these other games, I was on my PSP playing DJ Max, a series of games made in South Korea with its catchy tunes and clever gameplay. It was a no-brainer when this game released on PS4. It was a quick purchase, and very quickly I was brought back to the good times where my friends and I would compete for the highest score on songs, back when this was still a thing. Whenever I need to relax, I can just jump into a nice session of DJ Max, play some chill jams, and for a few hours, everything's just, we're vibing. And even with all the DLC that they've added over the course of the last 2 years, that's over 300 songs and counting. So it's a great game, one that I visit from time to time. I can always enjoy my time spent on this game. And yeah, DJ Max, respect, an amazing game. 7 Days to Die. So one of my favorite genres has to be the survival sandbox type of games. You get a full party of friends, and the results can be unpredictable. I've spent many hours, over 500 on this game alone on PC, and it's still on alpha after 7 years. The looting and crazy scenarios that you find yourself in, it's always a good time. I can't just play this game for an hour or two. When I group up with friends, it's always a 7-8 hour session, which in turn makes it it's turned it into one of the longer streams that I do on my Twitch. The highlights that I'm able to create from these sessions is what makes it so fun for me to play constantly, to the point that I even made a little web series out of it. I don't know. Games like this, Stranded Deep, and The Forest are my personal favorites to play most of the time. You quickly realize it's been 7 hours, and you're like, but wait, there's more to do. It's the funny moments alone that make these sessions fun, and it's why 7 Days to Die has had the second most total hours played in my 2020 so far. Super Mario Sunshine and Mario 64 as part of the Super Mario 3D All-Stars. So, growing up with Nintendo, mostly when the news dropped about Mario 64 and Mario 3D All-Stars, all that Mario stuff, I couldn't wait to recapture my youth and play what I thought was the best Mario 3D game. But then I found myself getting quite frustrated playing it. And that's because Mario Sunshine for the Switch, it's just as buggy as it was on the GameCube days. And so I realized very quickly what this was. It was no improvement on Nintendo's part. It's just a lazy attempt to cash grab and cash in on one's nostalgia. Oh, fuck me, because they won, I guess, because I had fun with Mario Sunshine, despite, the bad stuff that happened. But I just wish they did more with it. Mario 64, by contrast, was its plain old self. It's a solid, fun playthrough from start to finish. But, they didn't improve anything graphically or anything like that, which would have been nice to see. So I quickly found myself playing stages that I hated for the most part, but managed to look over things because, I still found it an enjoyable experience. I still need to try out Mario Galaxy. Never played it. Maybe one of these days. I also gotta try out Mario Odyssey. I guess I'm going in order. But Mario Sunshine and Mario 64, although no improvement from their GameCube counterparts, still a fun experience, still a fun time. Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So I love Pikmin. I grew up with Pikmin. I couldn't help but play this game once it was announced on Switch. It's calm and beautifully designed. The creatures and the atmosphere, everything about it puts me in a zen mode where I can just take my time enjoying all the little things. Now, I do feel it is a step down in difficulty from its predecessor, and they go back to the formula of having specific days to finish the game based on how much juice resource you have. So you have like a little drawback there, but I can easily overlook it because it's just a game that I enjoy, and I can only hope that, you know, fingers crossed, there's a possible fourth game in the near future. I'm going to put in here Pikmin 2, which is another game that I did. So I couldn't get enough of Pikmin, so I decided to play Pikmin 2, which is arguably my favorite in the series. Not just because I find it to be a much longer game, there's extra layers of difficulty in this one. So I love a good challenge, and Pikmin 2 I feel is the strongest of the series by far. So there's so much treasure to collect, and the final boss is one that just pulls no punches. It's a game that I very much enjoy from beginning to end, and so there's not much else to say about it. It's Pikmin, and I love it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. How long have we waited for this game? I can say without a doubt that Final Fantasy VII would be my game of the year. I didn't stream it because I wanted to have this personal experience with it. Back in the 90s, it was my first JRPG that I sunk countless hours into. The story is deep, and as a kid, it captivated me. I felt myself connected to the main character, Cloud, someone who has all these issues but hid it and played it cool with his confident persona. The main antagonist, Sephiroth, is how you make a true villain in a game. He's so stupidly OP, but you're still able to beat him. This remake came out, and I found myself back in Midgar, reliving my childhood. And from the music to how they beautifully brought back to life all these characters that we loved, you can tell they wanted to faithfully recreate everything, but still allowing themselves room and flexibility to expand and create something new. I didn't mind some of the side quests because I was so engrossed in my playthrough, even though it was just the Midgar point of the game. I've still found myself 100%ing this game and even playing it again straight after on the hardest difficulty. I'm not saying the game is perfect, but it's damn near. I'd go play it again on stream or something just for the hell of it. You can tell how much passion was put into this game and how they expanded small segments of the Midgar section to tell a more efficient and deeper story. And I appreciate them all for it. The characters and their designs are at their absolute best, and I cannot wait for when they eventually release the future installments of Final Fantasy Remake. And while this isn't the only Final Fantasy game I've played, it is by far my favorite. I thought it'd be nice to do a little honorable mentions segment, you know, and talk about very quickly some of the other games that, you know, didn't make the list. The Flame in the Flood, it's actually a pretty challenging survival type game where you just hop from island to island, and basically in this world has been flooded, and you have to gather resources and try to survive. It's actually very difficult, and the whole thing is that you have to survive for as long as you can before you die. That's it. And I played the game on normal, and I could only make it so far, and this game has a permadeath option too, so I can't even imagine how brutal that must be, like a super hard difficulty permadeath, like oof. Another game is Grounded, which is a game preview game exclusively on Xbox One, where you're just it's basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game, and you're basically in this backyard and all these bugs and everything, and you're trying to survive and craft. It's again an example of one of those sandbox survival types. That's a pretty good game. I actually, you know, it's fun. I haven't played it in a while, just waiting for new updates to kind of add more to it, but it's another good game. Fall Guys. I mean, it's Fall Guys. It's basically like Mario Party Battle Royale. Yeah. That's as good as I can describe it. Mario Party Battle Royale. It's fun. It's fun when you got a group of friends to play it with, and yeah, shenanigans all the way. I love games like that. It's cool. And last but not least, Stranded Deep. I mean, it's another one of those open sandbox survival games. It's my literal worst nightmare. Plane crashing in the middle of the ocean and the deep blue sea, that kind of thing. It's a good game. I like it. I like surviving. I like simulations like that. But damn, scary overall. One last one. Remnant from the Ashes. It's a weird one. I did play it for a while, but I never got to finish it. It's like Dark Souls meets a third-person shooter. It's weird. It's a weird genre. It's basically Dark Souls. It's as good as I can kind of compare it to. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Again, usually these kind of games, you get a group of friends and it's a fun experience. It's hard. It's a difficult ass game. Very Dark Souls-ish. But yeah. So like overall, I did play a lot of video games in 2020. This is just like a small list that I put together off the top of my head. But yeah, here's hoping that 2021 is filled with just better experiences and better games. I want to thank you guys for watching this video and checking out this list that I made, this personal list of games that got me through my 2020. And leave your comments below. What games did you play in 2020 that helped you get through it? I'm actually very curious to know. Maybe you played some games I didn't hear about, and if that's the case, be sure to drop a comment below. With that being said, my name is Ken, and I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.